The Constitution of the United States. The Constitution starts with the preamble.
Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Provide for the common defense. Promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty. To ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
The Constitution is divided into parts called articles. Articles explain the duties of each branch of government, states how to amend the Constitution, explains the supremacy of the national government, and the last article is the ratification from all the states.
Section 1, Article 1 explains the duties of the Congress.
Section 2 is titled the House of Representatives. It explains elections, qualifications, number of representatives, vacancies, and officers and impeachment. Section 3 is titled the Senate. It explains the number of senators, classifying terms, qualifications, the role of vice presidents, officers, impeachment trials, and the punishment for impeachment.
Section 4 of Article 1 explains the congressional elections and the regulations of them.
Section 5, Article 1 explains the rules and procedures of each house of government.
Section 6 is about payment. Section 7 of Article 1 explains how a bill becomes a law.
Section 8, Article 1 explains the powers granted to the Congress.
Section 8 also includes the Elastic Clause. The Elastic Clause has been stretched like elastic to allow Congress to meet changing circumstances. Section 9 tells the powers denied to the Congress. It also explains habeas corpus. Section 10 tells the powers denied to the states. Article 2, the Executive, explains everything about the presidency.
Section 2, Article 2 explains the powers of the presidency. It goes over military powers, treaties and appointments, and vacancies.
Section 3 of Article 2 explains the presidential duties.
Section 4 explains impeachment.
Article 3 is titled the Judiciary.
Section 1 tells about the federal courts and judges.
Section 2 talks about the authority of these courts. It talks about general authority, supreme authority, and trial by jury. Section 3 is about treason. It tells the definition and the punishment for it.
Article 4, Section 1 explains state acts and records. Article 4, Section 2 explains the rights of citizens. It explains citizenship and extradition. Section 3 of Article 4 explains how new territories can become states. It explains their mission and congressional authority.
Section 4 is about guarantees to the states. Article 5 is about amending the Constitution. It has no sections. One of the biggest problems facing the delegates to the Constitutional Convention was the question of what would happen if a state law and federal law conflicted. Which law would be followed? Who would decide? The second clause of Article 6 answers those questions. When a federal law and state law disagree, the federal law overrides the state law. The Constitution and other federal laws are the supreme law of the land. This clause is often called the Supremacy Clause. Article 7 is the ratification from all the states. The Articles of Confederation called for all 13 states to approve any revision to the Articles. The Constitution required that 9 out of the 13 states would be needed to ratify the Constitution. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution were ratified on December 15, 1791, and form what is known as the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment guarantees the freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. The Second Amendment guarantees the right to bear arms. The Third Amendment prohibits the quartering of soldiers in homes in peacetime. The Fourth Amendment prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures. The Fifth Amendment requires grand jury indictment for a serious crime, bans double jeopardy, no loss of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The Sixth Amendment guarantees the right to a speedy, impartial public trial in criminal cases with counsel and the right to cross-examine. The Seventh Amendment guarantees the right to a jury trial in civil suits involving $20 or more. The Eighth Amendment prohibits excessive bail or fines or cruel or unusual punishment. The 9th Amendment states that rights not listed in other amendments are not necessarily involved. The 10th Amendment asserts that powers not delegated to the national government or denied to the states are reserved to the states. The 11th Amendment states that citizens cannot sue states in federal courts, but there are some exceptions. The 12th Amendment changed the way the president and vice president were elected. The 13th Amendment ended slavery in the United States. The 14th Amendment stated that every person born in the United States is a citizen. States must also follow due process of law before taking away any citizen's rights or property. The 15th Amendment said that a citizen's right to vote cannot be taken away because of race, the color of their skin, or because they were previously slaves. The 16th Amendment said that Congress can put a tax on income. The 17th Amendment stated that the people will elect senators. Before this, senators were elected by state legislatures. The 18th Amendment made a law against drinking alcohol, which was called prohibition. The 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote. The 20th Amendment changed the days for meetings of Congress and for the start of the president's term of office. The 21st Amendment ended the prohibition law of the 18th Amendment. States can make laws about how alcohol is used in each state. The 22nd Amendment said that a person may not be elected president more than 2 times. The 23rd Amendment gave the people in the District of Columbia the right to vote for president. The 24th Amendment made it illegal to make anyone pay a tax to have the right to vote. The 25th Amendment changed what happened if a president dies, resigns, or is not able to do the job. It said what happens if a vice president dies or resigns also. The 26th Amendment made 18 years old the minimum age for people to be allowed to vote. The 27th Amendment, the last amendment, limits how Congress can increase how much its members are paid.